Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 385 based on novel. So let's start. The sword him shook the world. The sword seemed to form a dragon that wanted to break the sky. A dense killing intent appeared in this world. This killing intent was cold like the swords. Wang Lin's figure became a blur within the endless sword shadows. It was impossible to see him clearly, as he was surrounded by the endless sword shadows. I didn't think they'd be able to transform into 1 million sword shadows after forcibly opening 4 of the 9 seals. Wang Lin opened his eyes, and his eyes shined brightly. His gaze seemed to combine with the surrounding sword shadows and become part of them. The moment his eyes opened, all the sword shadows trembled as if they couldn't bear this pressure. It was as if a primal animal was about to charge out. For seals already have such power. It seems I underestimated these 2 short swords. In this case, I'll forcibly open more with my cultivation. I want to let the person that wants to kill me know that I, Wang Lin, am not so easy to kill. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as his hands formed a seal and pointed at the 2 short swords. Those 2 swords, one black, one white, released an earth-shattering howl that was like the roar of the dragons. It was as if 2 dragons were roaring at the sky. The 2 swords suddenly moved and pointed toward Wang Lin as if they were going to rebel. Wang Lin let out a cold snort and the Star of Law appeared. As it rotated, the new law that was created appeared. Thunder echoed across the sky and countless balls of thunder appeared and gathered. Also, at this instant, blue fire appeared around the 2 swords. A battle intent erupted. Wang Lin waved his right hand as he roared, "Fifth seal, break for me." Popping sounds came from the 2 short swords. In an instant, large amounts of cracks appeared before the 2 short swords and unexpectedly exploded. What appeared before Wang Lin was still 2 swords, but now they could only be called daggers, as their appearance had shrunk a lot. The moment the 2 daggers appeared, the sword shadows around Wang Lin erupted. 1.5 million, 2 million, until there were 5 million. 5 million sword shadows covered the sky and spread across the continent of Mo Luo. Even in the space outside Mo Luo, one could feel the terrifying, destructive aura. What was even more shocking was that each of the 5 million sword shadows contained the power of thunder, fire, and battle intent. It was as if they would battle the world without the need to control them. 5 seals allows 5 million sword shadows. Good. Then I'll help you once more and refine you 2 daggers with the blood of an ancient god to break the rest of the seals in one go. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his hands formed a seal. His face immediately turned rosy. Ancient god blood was filled with vitality and could dispel all demons in the world. He forced out a mouthful of ancient good blood and spat it out. It turned into a blood mist that surrounded the 2 daggers. When he coughed out blood, an ancient god shadow appeared within the blood. The shadow split into 2 and entered the 2 daggers. At this instant, popping sounds came out from the dagger and they collapsed once more. They collapsed twice in a row. A thunderous rumble echoed as the number of sword shadows around Mo Luo increased like crazy. 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, 9 million. In the end, there were exactly 9,999,999 sword shadows around Wang Lin. Just one more to collapse the world. Wang Lin sat there and began to ponder. 7 seals have been opened. Unfortunately, with my cultivation level, I can't break them in a short period of time. Otherwise, from the looks of these 2 daggers, once the 8th seal is broken, they would reach 10 million. Although it's only 1 more sword, the gap is great. No harm. Even though I can't open the 8th seal, I can still obtain the effect of the 8th seal. I'm an ancient god, and an ancient god's body is powerful. I will be the last sword. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he inhaled. The almost 10 million swords immediately howled and gathered toward him. It looked like he was inhaling the world. Countless sword shadows entered Wang Lin's body. As the countless sword shadows entered his body, a thunderous rumble came from within him. He gave off a powerful killing intent that could shake the mind of anyone who saw him. Ordinary cultivators couldn't handle so many sword shadows, but it was no problem for Wang Lin, who was an ancient god. When he inhaled them, even his body turned silver. Gather! Wang Lin roared, and the almost 10 million sword shadows inside his body condensed and eventually gathered inside his right index finger. These two short swords are strange. When the almost 10 million sword shadows condensed in his right index finger, the sky became clear. The two daggers had become two strands of black and white energy that also entered Wang Lin's finger. Two illusory deer let out long hisses and circled Wang Lin's index finger. Eventually, they turned into two tattoos that imprinted on his finger. At this moment, Wang Lin's index finger could destroy the body of a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Even an ordinary pseudo-Nirvana void treasure was no match. If one touched Wang Lin's index finger, it would immediately disintegrate. What was even more frightening was that this index finger also contained the laws of thunder, fire, and battle intent. It also contained Wang Lin's strength as an ancient god. This one finger could shock even a ghost god. Even a Heaven's Blight cultivator would have to dodge this finger. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he let out a breath that fell on his right index finger. The two tattoos were hidden and his index finger returned to normal. No one could see anything special about them. If I can catch that person off guard, then these 10 million sword shadows can definitely put him in a sorry state. Wang Lin looked up at the sky with a smile, but his eyes were gloomy. There are too many mortals on the continent of Mo Luo for the battle to occur here. It is the responsibility of us cultivators. Wang Lin silently got up and turned into a ray of light that quickly flew away from the continent of Mo Luo. His figure was a blur among the stars, and it didn't take long for him to find a wild continent. In a flash, Wang Lin charged at the wild continent. With a bang, his feet landed on this wild continent. His powerful divine sense spread out across the continent. Since I can't escape, I'll use this place as the battlefield. Wang Lin chose the highest peak in a mountain range and sat down. When I fused with the All-Seer's soul, I found out that there are still 7 more days until this life and death calamity. 7 days is more than enough time for me to prepare, Wang Lin muttered to himself as he raised his right hand and hit his forehead. 100 strands of milky white gas flew out of his head and turned into 100 balls of light. The world is ever-changing. Gather 100 avatars, ancient clan ability. After Wang Lin spoke, the 100 balls of light moved and turned into 100 Wang Lins. These were all avatars and souls. This was an ancient god spell Wang Lin could use after his 6th star had slightly recovered. As his hand pushed forward, the 100 avatars scattered in all directions and rushed through the star fog. Wang Lin closed his eyes as if he was cultivating. Time gradually passed, and in the blink of an eye, 2 days went by. His 100 avatars all contained the power of an ancient god and were all very powerful. In these 2 days, with his understanding of the rank 5 region, his 100 avatars brought back 100 wild continents. These 100 wild continents were moved here like crazy and surrounded the wild continent Wang Lin was on. This scene was enough to shock all the cultivators in the rank 5 region. At this moment, the area where Wang Lin placed the 100 wild continent had already taken a large portion of the region. From far away, it looked like the home of a clan from the ancient star system. These wild continents surrounded Wang Lin to form a giant formation. This formation used these continents as the frame and reached a terrifying level of power. The 100 avatars all returned and Wang Lin opened his eyes. He waved his hand and the annihilation restriction flew out around him and slowly rotated. Staring at the restriction, Wang Lin revealed a sneer. His hands moved like wind and didn't stop. Restrictions continued to spread out, permeating through the wild continent. They continued to spread until they were on all the wild continents and then connected as one. Creating this many restrictions had consumed a large amount of origin energy, but Wang Lin was half a foot into the Nirvana Shatterer stage and therefore could absorb endless origin energy. He also had large amounts of origin crystals and didn't hesitate to take them out and absorb them. He also summoned the woman in silver and ordered her to use the life and death restriction. The woman in silver used it without hesitation, and with enough origin crystals, her life and death restriction also covered the continent and synchronized with Wang Lin's restrictions. If this was it, it won't reveal Wang Lin's method. After he left the seven-colored realm, he had begun studying the time restriction. Although he hadn't fully learned it, as the inheritor of the annihilation restriction and with his understanding of restrictions, he had grasped a bit. At this moment, he used it and the time restriction started to appear. On the fifth day, the time restriction also filled all the continents. The power of time restriction depends on time. I have the flower time spell and can reverse time to help the time restriction reach a certain peak in a short period of time. The fusion of the three great restrictions has heaven-shaking power. Person who wants to kill me, even though you are a third-step cultivator, you won't know all the things I have prepared for you. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. Time was like a deadly knife hanging in the air that was rapidly falling toward Wang Lin. There were 2 more days. Now there were 100 wild continents around where Wang Lin was. They were arranged in a strange way, containing origin energy, along with a hint of law. Wang Lin and the woman in silver had shrouded the continents with 3 of the great restrictions, forming a storm that could destroy the heavens. However, Wang Lin continued to suppress it, not letting it explode until the surrounding continents had been refined into a giant restriction treasure using the 3 great restrictions. Master Flamespark had borrowed the Thunder Celestial Realm fragments to refine a treasure. Although Wang Lin's materials weren't as good, this method was equal and even a bit superior due to the 3 great restrictions. If Master Flamespark were to fight Wang Lin now, he would certainly lose. These 100 wild continents gave off a powerful pressure, but Wang Lin continued to suppress it until it was hidden. He wasn't arrogant enough to think he could fool a third-step cultivator, but he wanted its power to condense to a certain point before it erupted. Wang Lin had rarely prepared this crazily in a short period of time in all the life and death battles he had so far. Every extra thing he prepared would be an extra lifeline in this struggle. This time, Wang Lin knew that a third-step cultivator wanted to kill him, and he had almost no chance of survival. If it was anyone else but Wang Lin, they would have likely already collapsed in despair and wouldn't have the will to resist. After all, it was a third-step cultivator, so all preparations done would be useless. However, Wang Lin was heaven-defying cultivator and royal ancient god. His pride, his dignity, his heaven-defying nature wouldn't allow him to yield. Not even a third-step cultivator could make him yield. I can die, but I will die fighting, not suffer a humiliating death. If you want to kill me, you must pay the price. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot as he had prepared for 5 days straight. He took a deep breath as his hands formed a seal and then he suddenly opened his arms. As Wang Lin's hands moved, a blood storm spread out with Wang Lin as the center. In a short period of time, it spread across the wild continents until all of them were enveloped by it. There were large amount of fierce beasts on these wild continents. When Wang Lin moved the wild continents here, he didn't move the fierce beasts. As a result, the amount of fierce beasts gathered here was terrifying. The Tattoo clan ancestor once taught me tattoo spells, and Tarshan also secretly told me what he learned as well. Tattoos are refined from animal skins, taking the essence of the beast to form a tattoo. They have heaven-shaking power. However, this spell is simply too terrifying and requires too many lives. I didn't want to use this, but now I'm forced to. There was a flash of red light in Wang Lin's eyes as he began a complicated chant. This chant turned into tattoos around him. They charged into the blood storm and, in a flash, covered all the wild continents. The fierce beasts on the wild continents all trembled and let out miserable screams as their bodies and blood quickly withered. Even their bones melted as the essence of their bodies condensed on a piece of skin between their eyebrows and formed a blood-colored tattoo. The countless fierce beasts let out earth-shattering roars that echoed across the Rank 5 region. All the cultivators in the Rank 5 region sensed this shock, and those with low cultivation levels even began to hallucinate as they couldn't control their minds. As the fierce beasts collapsed, these tattoos floated above all the wild continents, creating an astonishing pressure. This pressure was enough to destroy a late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. Their body would instantly collapse, and it would be difficult for their origin soul to escape death. 10 million swords condensed into one is the first counterattack I prepared for the third-step cultivator that wants to kill me. 100 wild continents fused with the 3 great restrictions is the second counterattack I have prepared for him. Countless tattoo clan tattoos formed by countless fierce beasts that could destroy the world will be the third counterattack. The endless origin crystals that piled up around Wang Lin all collapsed and dissipated as the origin energy inside was drained away. Even people at the Heaven's Blight stage would without a doubt die if they got hit by these 3 kill moves. But this isn't the limit of my 2,000 years of cultivation. Wang Lin had given it his all for this battle. He took a deep breath as his hand reached out and his storage space opened. A bolt of thunder flew out. The moment the thunder appeared, there was a roar. The thunder beast formed by the god-slaying war chariot appeared. As soon as it appeared, Wang Lin waved his right hand and all the decorations Master Flamespark had added onto it collapsed, and it returned to the mighty form of the past. Roar? This thunder beast let out a roar and its eyes revealed a powerful gaze. It had already gained intelligence, so it knew Wang Lin was facing a crisis. There are still several seals left on this god-slaying war chariot. If it was in the past, I wouldn't have opened them, but now I can. Wang Lin took a deep breath and blew forward. A gust of wind came from his mouth and landed on the thunder beast. The thunder beast trembled violently and released cracking sounds as if a mirror was shattering. Release all the seals on the second god-slaying war chariot. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly opened, revealed a cold gaze. As the wind fell on the war chariot, he spat a mouthful of blood that landed on the war chariot as well. The thunder beast let out a painful cry as its body expanded rapidly. The seals on its body rapidly collapsed until all of them were released. The god-slaying war chariot that didn't get to storm the celestial realm before it collapsed revealed itself once more to the world. As the thunder beast's body expanded, it became tens of thousands of feet tall. Its body quickly changed, its bottom half turning into a giant war chariot. Its upper body changed drastically as well, becoming a giant spear. This spear was connected with the war chariot and gave off endless thunder when it appeared before Wang Lin. A heaven-shaking aura exploded from the war chariot and onto Wang Lin's body, causing him to stop breathing for a moment. Even the earth began trembling, and the 100 wild continents covered by the 3 great restrictions also trembled. Now it is worthy of being called God-slaying. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he waved his right hand and the giant war chariot fell down on his left side. The spear gave off a powerful killing intent as it pointed at the sky. Wang Lin's right hand reached out once more and a 5-colored butterfly came out and began circling him. There was also a blood swallow accompanying the butterfly. This third god-slaying war chariot is the strongest. Even now, I can't open it all, but aside from the last one, I'm confident in opening the rest. Wang Lin's hand formed a seal, and blood flew out and landed on the butterfly. In an instant, the butterfly trembled and even its wings seemed to stop moving. Then a giant cocoon gradually appeared around it. This cocoon was similar to when it became a butterfly. The moment it appeared, endless origin energy began to gather. Even Wang Lin had his origin energy rapidly absorbed. As it absorbed origin energy, the cocoon grew bigger and bigger until it was 10,000 feet tall. Wang Lin's eyes closed as he continued to take out origin crystals for the cocoon to absorb. Soon, the cocoon stopped growing in size, but the aura inside became more fierce. Time slowly passed, and one day went by. The cocoon that was floating there suddenly collapsed and created a powerful blast that blew everything back. Even Wang Lin was pushed back over 10,000 feet, but his eyes were filled with ecstasy. As the cocoon collapsed, a 7-colored war chariot thousands of feet large appeared. This war chariot didn't have a spear, but possessed 7 terrifying thorns. As the thorns absorbed origin energy, they gave off a 7-colored glow. It suddenly landed, and as Wang Lin moved, the 2 war chariots stood on his left and right. These 2 war chariots are my 4th counterattack. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time. If I had more time, I would be able to prepare a few more. Wang Lin looked up at the sky. There was only 1 day left. There was only 12 hours left. He predicted that in 12 hours, the person that wanted to kill him would come and the life and death crisis would begin. My last preparation will be to suck out the rust from the broken iron sword in the next 12 hours. Wang Lin waved his right hand and the broken iron sword flew out. Even if this iron sword was repaired, it wouldn't be enough to resist this crisis, and Wang Lin didn't intend to repair it, as it was too late. What he wanted were the blood stains on the iron sword. I can't find any clue about this blood, but I can feel that it contains an unimaginable force. It is similar to ancient god blood, but at the same time different. It is even a bit similar to the heaven's blood the Azura dragon divine emperor mentioned. Wang Lin suddenly opened his mouth and inhaled. He swallowed the iron sword and began refining it inside his origin soul. A lonely figure moved among the stars, wearing white with a head of flowing, blue hair, giving off a superb sense of beauty. Li Qianmai flew ahead with confusion and determination. There were still tears on her face as she bit her lower lip and flew faster and faster. There are some things in this world that have no logic, and one can only rely on their feelings. It doesn't matter whether it was worth it or not, it had to be done. She let out a sigh as she endured the sadness and bitterness in her heart. She flew even faster. Rank 9 region, where the god sect was, hidden deep within the fog, was a cultivation planet. There was a large formation here, and the center was a very gorgeous palace. Inside the palace, Mu Bingmai sat there as she stared ahead. Her beautiful face revealed an indifferent expression. "Why are you trapping me here?" Wang Shanshan was sitting outside the palace and frowned as she said, "Big sister Mu, it is difficult to violate teacher's order." Little sister is also very puzzled. "Perhaps teacher gave this order because he wants you to recover as soon as possible." Mu Bingmai silently pondered. She didn't understand why the god sect's head elder was like this, and it gave off a strange feeling. There was a tingling sensation in her heart that she couldn't make out. It was as if something big was going to happen, and it was going to happen to someone she knew. At this moment, Mu Bingmai didn't know that the rank 8 sect competition had been cancelled or that Li Qianmai had left the heaven-breaking sect. She didn't know that Wang Lin was facing his biggest crisis yet, his fate unknown. If she knew all of this, how would she choose? Time slowly passed, and Wang Lin still sat on the wild continent. His origin soul had turned into fire under the 2 pieces of the broken sword, forcing out the blood stains on them. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, until 10 hours had passed. After consuming all the origin crystals, he had finally forced out 30% of the blood stains from the iron sword. This dark blood turned into a bean-sized pill that gave off a strange aura and floated around Wang Lin. Forcing out 30% of the blood from the iron sword was Wang Lin's limit. Even if he had more time, he wouldn't be able to force out more. If it wasn't for the danger forcing him into peak condition, he wouldn't have been able to force so much out. He then put away the iron sword and the woman in silver. He sat there and adjusted his body. His heart rate slowed down until it took several breaths for it to beat once. It was dead silent. The last 2 hours slowly passed. At the last moment, Wang Lin opened his eyes and calmly looked at the sky. At this instant, the star fog began to surge and an unimaginable pressure slowly came out of the fog. He's arrived. Wang Lin's pupils suddenly shrank but soon returned to normal as he coldly stared at the sky. That pressure was heaven shaking. The moment it appeared, the earth trembled and showed signs of collapse. At this instant, all the fog shrouding the rank 5 region was suddenly pushed back. The fog moved like a wave, and the roars from the fog became even more intense. It was as if all the fierce beasts inside the fog were terrified. At the same time, a giant vortex made of fog suddenly appeared at the edge of Wang Lin's vision. A thunderous rumble echoed as a giant arm came out from the vortex and shot toward Wang Lin. The arm was very old and was filled with wrinkles. It was the hand of an elder. At this moment, it reached toward Wang Lin, and it seemed as if the entire world was going to collapse before it. The origin energy of the world seemed to be sealed by a strange force. None remained within this region. The speed of that giant hand was indescribable. The moment Wang Lin saw it come out of the vortex, it was above his head, reaching toward him like grabbing an ant. There were no words, no questions, no chance for survival as the hand descended. Wang Lin had encountered this in the 7-colored realm before as well. It seemed every third-step cultivator liked spells like these that would crush those they considered ants. It seemed like aside from other third-step cultivators, no one could make these people appear in their real bodies, much less an ant like Wang Lin. However, an ant could still bite, struggle, and resist. Not to mention Wang Lin had never considered himself an ant. Even if he did, he would still want to devour the world, filled with defying intent. The moment the hand reached down, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a frenzied gaze and he let out a cold snort. He leaped at the hand like a meteor. Not even third-step cultivators can make me yield. The battle intent inside Wang Lin's heart ignited and the star of law between his eyebrows rotated like crazy. The moment he charged out, he closed in on the hand, and when it reached at him, he let out a heaven-shaking roar. 10 million sword shadows. Wang Lin's right index finger pointed at the hand that was closing in on him. The sword energy hidden inside suddenly erupted. 1, 2, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. 5 million, 8 million. 9,999,999. Just one sword shadow short of 10 million erupted from Wang Lin's right index finger. At this moment, Wang Lin's right index finger became the last sword shadow, and the sword shadows reached 10 million, a level of completion. The moment that completion was reached, the shadows of 2 deer appeared and surrounded Wang Lin's index finger as it collided with the hand. This was the collision of a palm and a finger. It was 10 million sword shadows condensed into one. It had the power to kill all Nirvana Shattra cultivators, and even Heaven's Blight cultivators would be shocked. This was Wang Lin's first attack against the person that wanted to kill him. A thunderous bang echoed across the world. This shockwave spread across the entire Rank 5 region and caused all the various cultivators to cough out blood. Their faces were pale and filled with indescribable horror. Everything in the world seemed to slow down. Wang Lin's finger landed on the hand at this moment and the 10 million sword shadows hidden inside his finger erupted. The sword shadows rushed into the huge hand like crazy. The 10 million sword shadows carried Wang Lin's madness and willingness and his spirit as a heaven-defying cultivator into the hand in an extreme fashion. The 2 deer shadows rushed out with the 10 million sword shadows and turned into black and white gas that entered the palm. Popping sounds echoed from inside the hand and seemed to replace all sounds in the world. It was as if the heavens themselves had stopped moving. The only thing left in this world was the scene of Wang Lin's finger colliding with that palm. The giant, desolate palm suddenly paused for a moment, and endless popping sounds echoed. If one looked closely, there seemed to be 10 million silver snakes moving around under its skin, causing the popping sounds to become even more intense. A thunderous rumble echoed as if the world was going to collapse. The skin of the hand burst, but, strangely, there was no blood, and not even a sliver of origin energy came out. The hand rose after the pause, and a soft exclamation came from the endless fog behind the hand. An ancient voice came from the fog as a powerful pressure suddenly descended from the sky. You have some skill. However, how can a firefly compare to the moon? You dare to rise into the air before me? Get back down. That pressure was extremely powerful. If a Nirvana Shattra cultivator touched it, they would immediately die. When it landed on Wang Lin, he coughed out blood. It felt like a carriage weighing 10 million tons or countless cultivation planets were smashing into him. Popping sounds came from his bones as the pressure crushed down and he was smashed into the ground. He had no power to resist at all. However, Wang Lin had the body of an ancient god. After wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, he roared, 10 million sword shadows, collapse! 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 Wang Lin's voice was filled with a crazy amount of killing intent. He had been a heaven-defying cultivator all his life, he defied the world and would never yield. The moment his voice echoed, the 10 million sword shadows that had entered the hand suddenly trembled and exploded. The explosion of the 10 million sword shadows was impossible to describe, and a rumble that could collapse the Rank 5 region echoed. In a flash, a heaven-defying aura spread out from the hand. It was as if 10 million cultivators had turned into flying swords, entered the hand, and launched a crazed, self-destructive attack. The roar seemed to come from ancient times, shocking the world. This spell was enough to kill any Nirvana Shattra cultivator, and even Heaven's Blight cultivators would be forced off in an sorry state. However, at this moment, the giant hand suddenly trembled and a strange force appeared. The collapse of the 10 million sword shadows suddenly dissipated. The hand was left unscathed. There was only a red point at the center of the palm, and a drop of blood fell. Wang Lin's spells were able to destroy 4 fingers from Daoist Blue Dream. Now his power had increased greatly, and the power of the unsealed swords were not ordinary. In Wang Lin's first exchange with Daoist Water, Wang Lin coughed out blood. Intense pain came from his bones, his body felt like it was being torn apart, and he was smashed down from the sky. However, Daoist Water was injured. Even thought it was only a small wound, he was still injured. This video will end here.